Well, it's officially December, and before Santa crawls his jolly ass down your chimney, you need to stop what you're doing and go to www.nttfgpod.com and subscribe. I'm Rock.
And I'm Archie.
Well, our opinions, they might not matter to some, but...
What are you doing in there?
It's a podcast.
Immature, crass, trashy. And those are their good qualities. These poor schmucks are a couple of IQ points away from eating paste. But when it comes to music, sports, and comedy, well, that's all they know. You're listening to
Not These Two Fucking Guys.
Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
Sad news from the wrestling world today, Arch.
Talk to me.
Legendary Pat Patterson has passed away at the age of 79. Pat has, probably one of the best minds in the wrestling business ever. He started his career in 1958. He was the first openly gay wrestling star, the first WWF at the time Intercontinental Champion.
Really?
Yeah. He refereed the first main event in WrestleMania history.
Okay.
Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Nice.
Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T.
Wow.
So the story was Muhammad Ali was supposed to be the special guest referee.
Okay.
And I don't know, this is like 1985 this happened, so he was a little, I guess, just starting to get a little loopy, if you will, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they thought that shit was going to get out of control because Piper legitimately hated Mr. T. So they thought that Piper was going to start a shoot fight with him, and they didn't, Muhammad Ali wasn't, in the wrestling business, wasn't a referee. So Vince made Muhammad Ali the special guest referee outside the ring.
Gotcha.
Pat Patterson, who he trusted implicitly, was inside the ring. But Pat Patterson, was always Vince's right-hand man. He went on to have a on-air character, as as fans of today will remember him as one of Vince's stooges, if you would. Okay. But by all accounts, I watch a lot of wrestling and listen to, read up on it, listen to a ton of stuff on SiriusXM, and all the wrestlers, to a man, are saying he had, one of the best minds for the business. So rest in peace, Mr. Pat Patterson.
Also creator of the Royal Rumble.
Look at you with your fucking tidbits. Who knew?
Hey, Rock.
Yo, sir.
Have you ever seen the movie Necessary Roughness?
I sure did. I love that movie growing up.
That was a great movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, wasn't Sinbad in that movie?
Sinbad was in that movie. I remember, I think it was 91, right? That movie came out. I think there was Scott Bakula, Jason Bateman, Rob Schneider was in that. I don't know if you remember.
It's crazy how long Jason Bateman's been around.
Right? Jason Bateman's a great actor. He's been in so much good shit.
It seems like he should be like 75 years old, and he's still relatively young, and he's still awesome.
I mean, was he a better Teen Wolf than Michael J. Fox, or no?
Shut your fucking mouth right now. Shut it right now.
Well, Necessary Roughness, there was, if you recall, a kicker. Who was the kicker in Necessary Roughness?
That would be the lovely Ms. Kathy Ireland.
Damn right. So it just so happens that Kathy Ireland was in the news. And do you know why she was in the news?
Oh, I heard about this story.
Bro, this is an awesome story. She was praising the Vanderbilt kicker, Sarah Fuller.
Well, yeah, I heard a couple of people on her team had COVID, and that's how she got in. She's actually a soccer player.
A soccer star. Yeah. Now, I think they got their ass handed to them by Missouri that day. But I give a lot of credit to Vanderbilt just because you have people like Kathy Ireland celebrating Sarah Fuller's history-making day,
Yeah, 21 years old, and I heard she's an excellent goalkeeper.
She, if I'm not mistaken, she is the first woman to play in a Power 5, the highest level of collegiate football. That is some cool shit, dude. Could you imagine a fucking boot on her? Like how far do you think she can kick a field goal? I would love to fucking see her just destroy the goalpost. What would you have to guess? 50 yards? 38 in the wind?
30. We should have went to that. I think it was a Vanderbilt game when we went to your bachelor party in Nashville. We should have hit that up.
Yeah. But the actress Kathy Ireland, Lucy Draper, she was the star of the college soccer team, just like Sarah was, and she was recruited, and I think to turn around their losing season, if you remember, for the Necessary Roughness team. It just so happens that fucking COVID opens one door, closes one door for another. But congratulations to Sarah Fuller and the Vanderbilt Commodores. I mean,
well, I'll tell you, and I mean, they lost a heartbreaking nail biter, 41-0 to Missouri. So I mean, that's
what, something in my heart wishes it was 41-3. That she kicked one field goal. According to Hollywood Reporter, Sarah Fuller said the fact that I can represent all the girls out there that have wanted to do this and thought about playing football or any sport really, and it encouraged them to be able to step out and do something big like this. It's awesome. And I commend Sarah Fuller. That's awesome. And
I think it'd be awesome if on a kickoff somebody was running it back and she was the last person to beat and she knocked the guy on his ass.
Fucking lays him out. Like
that would have been awesome.
You know how they show like how the camera pans, right? And all of a sudden it follows the ball and then it follows the runner and all of a sudden it fucking starts panning and you just see the kicker and the fucking and the receiver and you're just like, oh man, it's gonna be fucking lights out for this kicker. Like it's the last guy and all of a sudden you would see Sarah just take the guy out by his legs. I would love to see that. So Vanderbilt is among the teams in the SCA East within the Power 5 conferences of the NCAA Division 1, right? It's the highest level of college football, and she got to play. I think that's awesome. We commend you, not these two fucking guys. Sarah Fuller, good for you. And I think she's going to continue. So hopefully we get to see more of her.
You know what? Maybe we're going to have her on soon. Stay tuned.
Yo, Rocco.
Yes, sir.
This next guest ties back to us with a really cool story from our old Lowdown days, my friend, and I'll get to that in a second. She is a singer, songwriter, producer. We obviously can't leave out drummer. Founding member of the iconic metal band KITTIE, and also founding member of her current band, the White Swan. Welcome to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast, Mercedes Lander.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm wonderful. You just got way louder.
Which one?
Rocco.
Oh, Rocco.
The handsome one or this idiot now? All right, I'm going to back up. Archie says I eat the mic too much.
Hey, he eats it.
Hey.
So, first off, how are you and your family during these shitty times that nobody's playing out and all?
Yeah.
How are you?
Things have just been weird, since March.
Mm-hmm.
I basically haven't really left my house. The first couple months, I didn't leave my house at all. I'm lucky I work remotely anyway.
Okay.
So it was just basically a case of me, not going out to the grocery store. Yeah. Or like going to the gym and stuff like that. I do have an office as well that I can go to, and that just hasn't been an option. Yeah. So I kind of lucked out with that. But it's been very interesting, especially because we released an EP during this whole crazy time period.
Yes.
So it's it's been even crazier, right? So it's just things are okay. Like myself, it's not much has changed, but enough has changed that it's definitely I'm ready to play a show.
Yeah.
Like this is the longest I've gone without playing a show in 26 years.
Wow.
That was one of the exact texts I sent to Rocco. We always mention this, him and I playing a band. We hometown heroes, never, made it out. But I said, Rock, we've played a show every year for like 23 years. like, 5, 7, 8, 12 shows, nothing like you, but, and dude, we haven't stepped on a stage all year. Like, this is sucks,
It's the entire year for me, because the last show that the White Swan played, we were supposed to play in December, and we were supposed to open up for Life of Agony.
Oh.
And I hurt my back.
Was that a cat?
Yeah, he's deaf, so he doesn't understand that his internal thoughts are exploding. So we can just ignore him. But anyway, I hurt my back that night, like loading in.
Oh my God!
I was like, I actually can't play this show. So I got basically carried out.
May I ask what show that was? Like, where was that?
It was at the London Music Hall here in London. It was opening for Life of Agony.
Yeah. So yeah, we are huge fans of Life of Agony. So So in fact, one of my questions later on kind of ties into them. But
good.
That sucks. Sorry to hear that, because that's kind of cool.
Interesting, because I don't know them at all, but I know a lot of people that know them, and the music industry is, especially from the era that I came from, and they're a little earlier than us, but not by much.
Yeah.
It's all very intertwined, and we all know each other.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion, right?
Uh-huh.
So it was really super sad, because I was looking forward to chatting with everybody, but I have back problems. And
sorry to hear that.
Like actually debilitating. I haven't been able to play drums in like months.
That sucks.
It's sad. That's okay.
How are things up in Canada?
Well, it just started to get cold here, which is weird. Because usually it's cold by now. I'm going to let him in.
Let him in.
Hold on. Hey, you can come in. Just don't eat the plants.
That's exactly what I say to Rocco, too.
Oh, well, you know what? That's a thing. Anyway. It just started getting cold here. We had like a stretch of like 70, 75 degree weather. And then this week it just started getting cold. So it's like, a brisk 40.
Wow, yeah. I imagine winter gets a little chilly up there.
It's not, it's not too bad. Celsius and Fahrenheit meet at minus 45, and I've been there for that.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Jeez.
But it's not as bad as you think it is. Especially the last couple of years, we really haven't gotten a lot of snow. Like normally, I can remember being a kid and like getting like 3-4 feet of snow. It just doesn't happen anymore. Buffalo, that still happens.
Buffalo, yeah.
Not here.
Yeah, we down here in the U.S. we're obviously there's a little bit of a shit show going on. I read some on the internet. It said Canada looks at us like they're the upstairs neighbor in an apartment building, and it's like, what the hell is going on down there? And that's pretty much how it is. Yeah, we're so close to you guys too. Like especially here in London. Like I'm 45 minutes from Sarnia, which is across the border from Port Huron, Michigan. So I'm like at 2 hours from Detroit. I'm 2 hours from Buffalo. So, like we're in that nice little piece that dips down.
All right.
All the Great Lakes are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break it down for Archie because he's not good with geography.
Here we go.
When she says London, don't think, oh my God, I didn't know we were so close to Europe. just so you don't ask any weird questions.
And this is why you're a piece of shit. But that's fine. It's fine.
It's clearly you guys really like each other.
Oh God, he's my nemesis. So this is what this little story I want to get to real quick before we get into the White Swan.
Okay.
Rock, what year was it? 2003? 2000?
Maybe before that.
Maybe before that?
2001, 2, 3-ish.
So KITTIE played Birch Hill.
Oh, good. Birch
This
Hill.
would be. Do you remember how many times you've played Birch Hill or no?
Like a lot.
Okay, all right. Well, this was if you were.
Well, we can tell you this: you definitely played on the closing weekend of the Birch Hill.
Yes,
I remember that. Yeah, I think we played the last or the second last show. I remember.
Correct. That. Now you're talking about bands of Motor Grader which he is now the lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, was Glassjaw on that show?
No, this was 40.
I know Glassjaw played with us.
40 Below
Birch
Summer.
Oh.
That's a chuckle right there.
Oh no.
Okay.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Gotcha. So it was you guys. It was 40 Below Summer. It was Motor Grader, and was there another band? No.
Can't remember.
Okay. So now here's the story. I'll make this quick. All right. So
already you're making it too long. Just so you know.
Shut up. So we were playing with you, but Birch Hill for a little while had a second stage that was like in the other room. Yeah, I know. If you came out of like the main room, there's another stage it was like a makeshift stage, and because they wanted to get more bands in there, make more money.
Yeah, that makes sense. They were like the Harpos of New Jersey.
So yes. So for us back then, obviously unsigned local band, like, oh my God, KITTIE, jumping on that show. We couldn't wait. Great show. We got a call the day before the gig. Hey, I just want to let you know the band that's opening up the main stage, the drummer got into a car accident. Can you guys open up the show on the main stage? Fuck it. What? No? I was like, I was holding the phone. I was like, of fucking course we can. Mm-hmm. So lo and behold, we opened up for you. We were the first band to open up the night. It was like, if you remember Birch Hill, the screen would be down and then the screen would come up. So the screen started coming up and people are cheering. They don't know what the fuck you're cheering for. Rocco's like, is that for us? No.
I was looking behind. I'm like, wait, is another band coming on too?
But it was one of those things where like, we're opening up for KITTIE, free beer. People are like, free beer? We used to just pass out Red Dog beer in the fucking parking lot. Just free.
We would rent a cargo van just filled with beer to get our friends to come.
Red Dog.
It was probably, I'd have to say, one of the, definitely for Rocco and I, one of the most iconic nights one of the greatest nights of our lives, that we got to open up the Birch Hill, in Jersey, in our hometown, our home state, and we got to open up for you, and it was a fucking awesome show.
That's awesome. That makes me happy. I have really fond memories of Birch Hill, mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think what other band was on that tour that.
Gotcha.
Talking about, I can't remember, and I know my sister. If I text her, she's not going to know. It's just a shame, because she's usually the one who asks me for that kind of stuff. I'll look it up and I'll see who it was, but I know that there was one other band, and I want to say, but it was somebody.
Yeah, it was somebody. But it was an awesome time, and
that's really exciting. Yeah. I legit had so much fun at that place, and I'm so glad that you guys got to do that.
It was fucking sold out too, because they knew it was closing, and it was like you couldn't get anybody else in there. And
you guys killed it that night too. For us, it was like the perfect night. So definitely a fond memory.
If that was Motel Grader,
yes,
I want to say that. It probably was one of Jennifer's first tours. Mm-hmm. Do you know who was playing for it? I'll be able to know. Like, do you remember if it was Jeff and Jennifer? Or if it was,
I'm sorry.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I was there. That's all that matters.
that's all that matters.
Honestly, we've had so many different members. I couldn't tell you who our lineup for that show was. So for sure.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the White Swan.
Okay.
I dig, man. It is like, I mean, not to classify you as anything, but like doomish and like, just like these great riffs and powerful. It definitely very, very, very different than KITTIE. Is this a genre that you've always liked? I like a ton of bands from that genre. I don't know if that was just something that you've always liked, or is that just something that you enjoy playing?
Well, I don't know. Like it's hard. Like, I mean, who doesn't like Typo Negative?
Oh, that's a special place in my heart right there.
Exactly. Right. So, but at the same time, for me, it's almost like, I don't know. I'm not like an amazing guitar player or anything like that. So when I do, I feel like when you're like good riffs, I'm like, this guy's fucking lying.
No, because it's like wide open, and that's the shit that I personally love.
That's okay. Rocco can't play guitar at all, so it doesn't matter.
Good. At least I'm not alone. But it's just one of those things, man. Like it's just so kind of. And it's not like I set out to like be like, I don't want to be a part of the Doom community. I've never been a part of any community before. Even, in any of the previous bands that I've been in, it's just never been a thing that like I've always been an outsider. So, I don't know. It's just a kind of what comes out, right? And like I'm getting older. I don't want to be fast.
I don't need that fast shit.
No, nobody needs that in their life, especially like once you get into your 30s, you're like, oh, everything hurts.
Yeah, Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's just like a big no. So you know what? I just want to play some slow, sad music. Speak through my guitar about how my body hurts. And
you say sad music. Now it sounds sad, but some of the lyrics, some of the lyrics are kind of positive in some sense.
Oh my God, I'm the most positive person you'll ever be.
You sound positive. Oh my God. Like honestly, as soon as I did do a little sneak peek with a couple interviews on YouTube with you. I'm like, she sounds so nice. She's like so uplifting and so like let's go have a coffee at Starbucks. Come on.
I mean, like that would be really super cool. I like chais.
Just if you're buying.
If you're buying. But anyway, like I don't know. I feel like what I don't really have much to be angry about. Like, I don't know if your camera's on, but I got this big honking cat in my arms.
I mean, for the people out there who cannot see this because it's audio, she has a beautiful cat in her arms. What's the name of the cat? What's her name?
This is Thomas.
Thomas?
Yes.
Thomas the cat. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, he's deaf.
Okay, well, better off you can't hear us.
He's okay. So I got to hold on to him so he keeps quiet.
It's okay. I went to my wife the other day and I said, let me ask you a question. Do you remember Tracy Bonham? And she looked at me and like without a split, which is weird. She looked at me and like, because we're music buffs ourselves. And she looks at me and goes, everything's fine. And I was like, yes, that is her. And I said, Mercedes Lander, who we're interviewing, she did a cover, Tell It to the Sky, right? Mm-hmm. Where did that, why her? Why that song? And where did that come from?
So interestingly enough, I have been thinking about that song for years.
Okay.
Pretty much since it's been released. And it's one of those songs that I was like, God damn it, I wish I wrote that song.
Uh-huh. All right.
And I felt like because of the key of the song and just the way that the vocals are put together and stuff like that, I was like, I bet you anything, if the White Swan covered this song, nobody would be able to tell the difference.
I know.
Like if you didn't know that song, you would be like, well, that's just another White Swan song.
Yeah.
So, and of course, like, I mean, we heavied it up and stuff but everything's the same. It's all in the same key, same notes, same, like nothing has changed except we made the ending longer.
Okay.
Because, 5 minutes isn't enough. But like, I mean, everything's exactly the same. So I don't know. It was just a no-brainer for me and I'm a really big fan of covers.
Okay.
I love covers.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says, man. Like any of the covers that we've done, like, I feel like they're really weird to begin with. Like Jet, that's a super weird song. Do in halftime.
Do you ever see yourself doing like a whole covers type EP album? Or
I would be okay with that completely. Like I have a list of like I have a Spotify playlist that I put together of songs and it's called covers.
Uh-huh.
So that might be something that I would look into doing.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that hasn't been released, like White Swan stuff that we haven't released yet. That we're releasing. I'm hoping sometime next year. And we're a part of a covers compilation.
Yeah.
That ended up turning into like this monster of like a project for these dudes, Fuzzed and Buzzed. They're just super, super nice guys, but they've been, there's another band that I fill in for sometimes called Astral Witch. I play bass for them sometimes, and they did a whole like really cool like vinyl release for them, and I actually played on their recording, their cover recording. So they basically just got all these bands like doom and stoner bands, and got them to record like weird 60s covers.
Okay.
So we recorded ours quite a while ago, but it just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. That they keep like releasing little things at a time. So we'll see when it's released. I'll have to, but yeah, you can check out Fuzzed and Buzzed, and maybe, you know, in the next couple months, maybe they'll release the White Swan song.
Cool.
So talk to us about your EP that you said was released during this this COVID-19 disaster.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting actually. We decided that first we recorded the EP in 2019, so in December, which is, you know, quite a while ago. So December 2019, we recorded Nocturnal Transmission over 2 days, which is kind of rare for us. We usually only take one, but because of that extra song, I think we had to do 2 days. So we ended up recording with Siegfried Meyer, who I've worked with for many years in the past. And so December, you know, the recording's done. And then, of course, Siegfried has to, you know, go ahead and mix and master it and stuff like that. So I didn't end up getting it back until almost probably February.
All right.
And by the time, you know, like he sent me mixes and I was like, you got to change this, or like, hey, turn my vocals down because they suck.
Stop it.
So anyway,
again, that's what I say to Rocco. You have to turn his vocals down. He sucks. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we've got so much in common, bro.
Yeah.
But anyway, so by the time February hit and I get these masters back, I was like, you know, starting to hear about COVID-19. And I actually went on a cruise. But it wasn't like a vacation cruise. Okay. It was a cruise that people were vacationing on. But my work, where I work, does a cruise every year.
Okay.
Where like everybody that works for the software company that I work at, everybody kind of comes and takes like 3 days and gets crazy.
Yeah.
You know, software developers get crazy.
Let's loose. Those IT people.
Yeah, like didn't even touch a drop of alcohol. It was pretty funny. Yeah, guys were drunk though. So anyway, so I started hearing about this virus and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I got stranded on a boat for, you know, and then that whole thing in Japan happened and I was like, well, I'm glad that didn't happen. But anyway, so I started hearing about this virus and I was like, well, we gotta figure something out. And then March hits and then everybody locks down. The entire universe locks down. And I was like, how am I going to release a record and I can't play live shows? Like, how is that even possible? So initially, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to wait this out because there's no way that it's going to last more than a couple of months.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. So anyway, it was basically like, you know what? It got to the point where it was like, you know, like April, May. And I was like, I can't sit on this record anymore. Like, we gotta release it. So I called up my friend Steve and I was like, hey, Steve, you want to do another record? And he was like, yeah, sure. I did have to talk him into it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
But because, you know, like this has never happened before. Nobody knows what it's like to release content or a record in lockdown where you can't play shows. Yeah. So Steve and I kind of put together a nice game plan and I have a couple friends here in town. Luckily for us here in London, we did not have crazy numbers. Like up until now, they were like maybe a couple days where it was like 12, 13, 20.
Oh, wow.
You know, in a region that has close to 1 million people in it.
Yeah.
So
Archie, and you said that you heard that Europe was bad.
Yeah, you're an asshole.
But yeah, so like at the time we weren't really having, because we're here in our county and the neighboring county that they're also counting like all the COVID-19 cases. Yeah. They're like combining a couple counties. So in our general region, like we're isolated.
Yeah.
So there's nothing around the London, St. Thomas, Stratford. There's not really a whole lot, or I guess not Stratford, but there's not really a whole lot in our general area outside the perimeter of those couple towns, right? So it kind of was really great because there was no school. We have a big university and a college here, so there was no students here. Everybody went home. And so there, but like things have started to get a little crazy since the students have come back to school, and school started for grades 1 through 12 or whatever. So things are starting to get a little crazy again. So we'll probably end up locking down at some point.
Isn't it? It just fucking sucks. Like you see, like I obviously on social media follow a lot of musicians, and you see them saying like, yeah, we're getting plans ready for 2021. Where we're like, well, we don't even fucking know. Like,
that's the thing, right? Like, you don't know, and I'm just thankful that maybe some of the live venues might make it through this. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm concerned about. Like when this is all done. I mean, there's other things I'm much more concerned about, but in terms of like music and stuff like that, when this is done. Where are we is there gonna be even a place left over?
Yeah. I know.
And like, we're all gonna be fucking fighting each other for it.
Exactly. And it's crazy because obviously the fans are gonna come out. Like, as soon as they find out, they're gonna come out. We have a rock club by us. There's a few. They're dwindling down, but in Jersey, there's a rock club by us that
they weren't doing rock clubs weren't doing well before
COVID in Jersey. Yeah, but I think they had like 25% capacity for about 2 months, which I almost got a kick out of. It's like, hey guys, I'm playing a gig. Not so many of you can come. Only a few. So why don't you pick?
Yeah.
But now they it was like a town ordinance, like, okay, live shows are gone again.
Yeah.
So
where are you guys located?
Northern New Jersey. We're like 15 minutes from New York City.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're close to there. So like obviously growing up, Irving Plaza, Hammerstein Ballroom, Roseland Ballroom. I'm sure you've played all those.
Yeah.
Like,
Irving Plaza.
going to shows there were fucking amazing growing up, and now zilch.
Listen, I mean, like, it can only go up from here. I feel like there's hopefully, going to be some things that your head is completely gone.
Gone.
I tell you, the magic trick he does.
There it is. No, but like it's just one of those things that it can only get better from here. And like, I'm trying to be really super positive about it because there's no sense in being upset about something that you can't control, right?
Yeah.
True. But that's going to be disappointing that, you work on an EP. It's, new material that you want to play shows, tour, what have you, have the world listen to, enjoy. And then it's just like, all right, we release it. But you never got the bang for your buck of playing these songs live.
Yeah. It'll happen eventually, and when it does, I'm sure it's going to be crazy. We just got an offer to do like a live stream for one of the local university radio stations. I think it's the university. So if the other thing is like, there are, Kira and Shane and our live drummer, Perry, who we have to worry about, right? So if it were me and I could clone myself and play every instrument, I would totally be like, hey, you know what, guys, I understand, if you don't want to do a show right now, because it's, so I'll just do it all myself. But, that's clearly not how things work. So, I mean, that's the other thing too, right? It's like, we got to see if, everybody's comfortable with playing shows.
When was the last time you rehearsed, like fully as a band?
We don't even jam when we're allowed to, probably the last time we rehearsed was in December when we were going to record, and it wasn't even with Perry. It was with me playing drums. Okay. Because we have two ways to jam. So the first way is with me playing drums.
Gotcha.
And then the second way is to jam with Perry or whoever is playing drums. It's usually Perry. But if he's not available, we have a couple guys that we Because I'm sure if you go back and like look at all of our live photos, there's usually a different guy. Like I played live shows like me playing drums and no vocals. So that's
wow.
So on the record, you play drums, sing, play guitar, and do keyboards.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
What else? I mean, did she do the artwork? Is she pressing the CD? What else is she doing?
Could you imagine though? Like, just pressing some vinyl.
What are you doing? Making T-shirts. I'll be out in a minute.
I don't have time for that. Oh my God. Like who actually has time for that? I don't, unless like that's your only source of income.
Yeah.
Which, if that is like being in a band, that's great. But rarely does that happen anymore.
No. Yeah.
Unfortunately. But could you imagine just like, well, I'm just going to go over here and press some T-shirts before the show, man.
You actually sound like Rocco and myself about 20 years ago. We were doing that shit.
We had to stop at Kinko's on the way to the show to fucking make CDs. It's awful.
What a shame.
Yeah, it's okay though. I was in a power pop band not that long ago, a couple of years ago, and like we used to like glue our CD covers together. And I had a friend that owned a print shop, and he would like print the CD like sleeves for me. He'd be like, "It costs extra if you want me to
put it together."
And I would be like, "I'm not fucking paying you."
Yeah, that's awesome. Give me the clue, motherfucker.
Yeah. We've actually Anubis was our first EP. Anubis was put together like that. So we only have a couple of copies of those CDs left, and they're definitely like burns. Like I burned them on my 2010 Mac Mini. Like,
of course, yes.
So super cool.
Well, speaking of Anubis, talk to the evolution of the White Swan. Anubis, the white, touch, taste, destroy. Till now.
What a great name.
I know. I like that, right?
Yeah. These are just things that just like come to me in usually when I'm in the bathroom or something.
Just talk to me about like the transition from EP to EP, and how come never like a full length, or just something that you weren't interested in, or
what, full lengths?
Yeah.
EPs
they were all EPs, right?
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
So this is the first one with 4 songs. Usually we only have 3.
Bonus.
So it's interesting to me because like for me, listening back to like Anubis and then going through, not that I do that very frequently because I really don't like the sound of my voice, and sometimes I'm like, oh god, but it's interesting because like. You can tell when we recorded Anubis, we'd never played a show. So this was just like me, being like, okay, well, I don't have a band to play in anymore because the Alcoholics had just kind of broke up. And any of the other, bands that I was playing in at the time.
The Demon... I'm sorry. What was the? I had it at the tip of my tongue. What was the other band that you were in? I think it was like.
I've been in lots of bands.
I know, but there was one that was like no, just vocals or something.
Oh yeah, Night of the Demons.
Night of the Demons.
Yeah, that band is hilarious.
I tried to find something online. I couldn't find anything.
There is a Bandcamp now.
There is. Okay.
A friend of mine who has a podcast with my sister called Witchfinger.
Okay.
Yasmina is basically like the third Lander sister. She's like she doesn't belong to her family at all, actually.
Got it.
She belongs to us.
She's
but
a
anyway,
Lander.
her and I were in a band together with a couple other dudes and just friends or whatever. We gigged quite a bit, and shit got weird, man.
Really?
Yeah. Like, especially with that band, because I didn't have anything to like keep me occupied with my hands, so it got weird.
Gotcha.
But anyway, I think we stopped playing shows in like 2007.
Okay.
2006 maybe. It was a long time ago. Yeah, probably 2007 is when we stopped playing shows. And it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
That was a fun band though. But all sorts of weirdness. I've been in a lot of bands. but I can't remember what your original question was.
Well, it was the evolution of the White Swan.
Thank you. You're okay. So I guess, like listening back, like we'd never played a show when we recorded Anubis. It was basically, because Kieran and Shane, they're both audio engineers. So I was like, hey, do you guys want to like start a band? And they were like, yeah, okay. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do in this band yet, but I have all these songs. So let's, I guess at the time they were more like just like a compilation of like riffs. And I was like, let's go and record these. And they were like, oh, well, we can use our recording setup at home. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we literally sat in their living room and demoed a bunch of songs. Some of them still haven't made it to recordings or whatever, but the Jet, Blood, and Illuminate. That's it. Yes. Those 3 songs, we definitely demoed those and sat in their living room or wherever, did that. And then they would come over to my house because that's where the drums are. So we would totally just jam out with that. And then we got to a point where we were like, okay, let's go record. So I had a friend who basically he had a studio that wasn't that far from my house. I was like, hey, Al, can we record with you? And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. So then we, took a day, recorded, and it worked out, and it sounded okay. I went in there and I was like, kind of want it to sound like this. And he nailed it. So, and then going through, you can just tell, like, it's going to sound silly, but you can tell that, like, I'm really not sure what's going on.
What are you not sure about?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I've never really done that before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just
like stepping in front of being the front woman.
Yeah, with the exception of Night of the Demons, but that was different,
Yeah.
But yeah, like completely 100%, like this is my baby, right? So you can tell to sing, like in singing, it's always been like, oh God, like I can sing my brains out. But for me, singing is always like, I'm always like, is this going to be good enough? So you can kind of tell, like, I'm like, oh boy. You can tell I'm like, hey Al, why don't you put more effect on that vocal? And then as you can tell the progression because of the vocal effects get less and less through the recording. So it's like the white is like a little less, and the vocals are a little higher in the mix. And then Touch Taste Destroy, it's like like it's a completely different band, but like the same band at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I can understand. Like
they're very, like all of the records there's clearly all from the same band. It's just, it's just, there's a lot of growth in there, especially like once we started playing shows and stuff like that. And I was just like, once I got comfortable with that, which I'm never going to be comfortable with being a front person. That's just not who I am. And it's weird, but that's the only way that I know that I can like facilitate what's in my brain with this music.
Okay.
So this sounds like crazy person talk, right? You're like,
no.
You're like, what the fuck is this bitch talking about?
I understand that completely, believe me.
Yeah, so,
crazy? No.
Anyway, yeah. So it's just one of those things where, it's just the leaps and bounds ahead. And like for me personally, like Touch Taste Destroy was like, that was the record where I was like, okay, I feel okay now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm sure you can tell, I'm sure it's a little more together.
Confidence in the sing. Yeah.
It's definitely, and then, with Nocturnal Transmission, I almost forgot my own record's name. It's just like, building upon that,
Yeah.
Although, I am going to say that things are going to start to get really weird with this band. The next, whatever we record next is going to get super weird.
Okay.
Yeah, so just look forward to that.
All right. Hopefully it's with instruments, but that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I definitely am not talking about anything else.
So what I wanted to bring up from before so I don't know if you know this, but Life of Agony They had their original drummer, Sal Abrascato. He left the band. He started his own band, a pale horse named Death. And it's very, very like, doom, like Alice in Chains type of doomish that type of shit. And it's cool. It's a really cool vibe. And it's like watching a drummer go to the front, just like you.
Yeah.
So it's cool to watch, out of his comfort zone and to front a band. How do you feel? I mean, you might have brushed upon this before, but like, how do you feel fronting a band now? Like,
it's weird.
It's fucking weird, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't like like I get up there and I'm just like, oh God, what am I doing?
Got no toms around me. What's going on?
Like there's at least okay, so when I first started this band, I had no idea what I was gonna do in the band.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to have somebody else sing my songs, so I guess I'm going to do that. And then I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Be up there like dumb with a microphone? And I was like, okay, so I can either play keys or I can play guitar. And I was like, well, okay, so I have to think about it this way. Both hands and fingers moving at the same time, or one hand and four fingers moving at the same time. And so I'm like, okay, clearly I am going to play guitar in this band. And then I was like, I can't fucking sing and play guitar at the same time.
There lies the dilemma.
So I'm legit what I did for 2 weeks straight. Whenever I had a second, it wasn't working or whatever. At the time, I didn't have the job that I have now. But anyway, for 2 weeks straight, I would set my microphone stand, my mic, not plug it in my kitchen.
Okay.
At the time, I was playing an SG in drop A, which is stupid. I know.
Drop A. Wow.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's just that scale cannot, like the neck scale cannot handle, like it's never stating to. But anyway, so I had my SG and I had my microphone and I had my Mac Mini set up on my breakfast bar in my kitchen. So I would hit play and I would play to the entire thing and I would sing along for 2 weeks. That's what I did. And that's how I learned how to sing and play guitar.
That's fucking cool. That's good. Because if you want to know why, because out of that 2 weeks, I can almost guarantee there was one day it just clicked.
Yeah.
One day it was like, because you didn't feel your right hand.
Yeah.
And you were singing and it was just going. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because there are still a couple songs that I can't because they're just weird.
Yeah. So
Blood is a song that I can't sing and play guitar at the same time because of the vocal pattern, which I'm an idiot and I should have thought of that. But and then I feel like actually, you know what? I'm probably we'll see what happens with the new stuff, like playing live. We've never played any of these songs all together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like in a live setting, like singing and playing guitar at the same time, except for when we shot the 2 videos. And one of the videos was like 2 times faster. Like the audio was 2 times faster when we shot the video because it was in slow motion.
Oh, all right. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, the Tell It to the Sky video. Well, it's like the audio, we had to speed it up. So when they slowed the shutter speed or the camera speed down, it was slow motion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I edit video. At least I say I do. But yes.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So the Tell It to the Sky video is shot in really fast. So you can see me like being like, how the fuck am I gonna do this?
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nice.
It's on YouTube.
What's your writing process for a song? I always like to get inside of a singer's head. Like, what do you have a concept? Or is it just like you're going about your day and you're like, hey, and just to think of a theme or like a couple of melody or lyrics? Like, what is it, a complete song, or do you like what I do is I actually just have ideas and I go back to them. I don't know how other people do it. So
for me, I feel like I'll be thinking of something and something will pop into my head, like a phrase, and then I'll be like, oh, that sounds really good. I'll write it into my like notepad, which is like this long on my phone. For everybody that can't see me, it's really long. It's anyway. So I'll write that phrase, and then sometimes I'll be like, I'll be feeling it, you know what I mean, and I'll be like, I gotta go get my book. So
it made it to the book,
and I go and I open my book, and then I'll go through my phone and look at the weird phrases that I have in my phone, and I'll be like, that sounds good. That matches with that one. And then I'll just start to like fill in the blanks, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense because I can relate to it. I definitely do a form of that myself. I'll go back to my notes in there and I'm like, and they're just like sentences or like sentence fragments. I'm like, what the fuck was I wasn't even trying to say here. What was I thinking? What was that thought? I'm like, out of context, out of the moment, it makes no sense. But
yeah, sometimes it's just like, I'll sit down and I'll write an entire like 6 songs or whatever they are, like in a row. And then, but most of the time it's just, you know, me piecing together stuff. And, normally like if I have feelings that day.
If I care.
So I would guess that because you're playing, I mean, like you said, this band is your baby. Mm-hmm. Is it like, you know, I don't know, when I'll come up with something and then, you know, like Arch would do about this, oh, it's cool. And go to the guitar player and be like, yeah, it's cool, but maybe just do it like, you know, I'm guessing you have the final creative control over what's going down.
But Kieran Jane play on the records, right? So like, it's not like it's a one woman show. If it was, like, I mean, I don't think that would be a band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So like, it's basically like I'm like, yeah. So this is these are the riffs. You know, do whatever you want with them. Like, I don't care. And then sometimes it takes on a life of its own, right? Like, I don't know. I have a hard time. Like, I'm not going to tell people how to play. That's dumb, right? I just like, you know, this is the general gist of the song. Learn the riffs, and then we can jam it out. And if something cool happens in between that, I'm totally cool with that. Right? Yeah. So happy accidents are like how I write most things.
Nice.
And they're great too. And like, the nice thing about that too is like, we get to play in a couple different ways with each other, which is nice. So we get to play with me playing guitar and singing, but we also get to play with me playing drums, which is like, that's how the band existed in its infancy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a big fat orange guy that wants to come in. Hold on.
Oh. Donald Trump's there.
Come on in. Come on. Come say hi.
Another cat.
Yeah.
These cats are getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, this is the biggest one.
Wow.
Like a small tiger.
He is, actually.
A liger.
Yeah, he's got like a pretty lame voice, though, for being such a big guy.
Again, for those people out there, another cat has just entered the room.
Yeah.
These Canadian cats are pretty big, Rock.
Yeah. You do well here. Yes.
What's this one's name?
That's Alan.
Thomas and Alan.
Yeah.
Do we have any more other pets?
There are 5 cats that reside in this house.
Oh,
Alan is
cats.
my latest one that decided to move in. But yeah, there's a lot of cats in this house.
If I came to your house, all I would do would sneeze.
I would sneeze. You a reaction, don't worry.
I would sneeze, and I would be like happy to be hanging out with you, and I'd sneeze. Like
well,
that's what would happen.
You're welcome to come over anytime.
And I'd sneeze.
But I'll give you some allergy pills.
Okay.
I have to take them too. So here, come here.
Gotcha. So a couple more questions. We're not going to keep you.
Okay.
So what the hell are you listening to now?
Oh
what are you listening to? Are you listening to anything heavy? Are you listening to anything melodic? Rocco and I are very versatile. From POD to Sinatra to Typo Negative to everything.
You're gonna love what I have to say.
I want to know what you're listening to.
The first thing is that I really like the new Deftones record.
Awesome.
This is the first record that I've actually, gave a solid listen to in a long time. So
Okay.
I love there's a lot of nostalgia involved with that band, with
hell yeah.
how I feel as a person. Do not eat those plants, you little shit. Get out. No, out. You lost it. You lost your. You're not allowed in here. Get the fuck out of here. No, don't. Get in here.
For the people,
say goodbye to Alan.
for the record, for the people out there listening, she's not talking to us. She's talking to the cat.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry about that. It's so hard. My husband went back to Ohio today, so usually he's wrangling the cats while I do interviews.
Gotcha.
But he's not here anymore. So.
Now, yeah, but what do you do while he's interviewing?
When he does interviews,
I don't even know what he does. I don't know.
Luckily, he released his record like a couple months before we did, so he's all done.
Oh, I feel stupid now. What is he?
He is in like March or April.
What does he do?
He's in a band called Close the Hatch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta listen. I gotta check it out.
You'll probably like them.
All right.
They're nice boys.
They're nice. They're nice boys. Good.
Anyway.
So what are you listening to?
Yeah, new Deftones record, awesome.
Okay.
And then other than that, dude, I legit don't listen to new music.
That's fine. Do you listen to old music? Like, are you?
Yes. So I've been basically since the lockdown, I've really started to get back into and like re-examining a lot of the 70s British music.
Okay.
So what, like bands like Electric Light Orchestra, Roxy Music.
Interesting.
Sweet, which is one of my all-time favorites. And the reason for that is they're amazingly crafted songs, especially Yellow. Like they toured with a full fucking orchestra.
Yeah.
And played rock music in the early 70s. Like that's crazy. They had 2 cello players and a violin player. And of course they had a synth player too, which is early weird moves. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of the vocal arrangements and harmonies are just out of control good. And it's more or less treated like a lot of the harmonies, and especially with that era of music, it's treated like an instrument and not necessarily treated as like a main vocal, if that makes sense. So there's always so much layering underneath. And I find that I do that with the White Swan anyway. Like the vocal work is like, it's my specialty. That era of music, and it's especially because there are a lot of bands that have strings along with these crazy vocal setups, and the strings a lot of times lend to the vocal harmonies and like the textural portions of the vocal harmonies as well. So there's just a lot of really great recordings and songs that came out of that era that people just aren't doing that stuff anymore. And if they are, like, where the fuck are you?
It was funny. I was watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They call it induction, but it was just like pre-tape stuff, and forgot like how it was never like a huge fan, but the friggin' Doobie Brothers, when you say like doing like harmonies, like these 3-part harmonies, and it's like that, you're right. It was like an instrument in and of itself, and like holy shit, these guys were so good. But you kind of don't.
Back then, you had to be good.
Yeah.
There was no fucking auto-tune, right? Like, like if you listen to a band like for instance, Sweet. Especially like I'm not like talking about like Ballroom Blitz and shit like that. Like I'm talking about like later 70s Sweet, like 76, 77, 78. Like, dude, some of that shit is out of control. Like so much vocal layering, and like those motherfuckers pulled that shit off live because everybody in the band sang in a different range.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. I don't know.
I can't get my guitar / bass player to fucking sing 2 words of backup while I'm dropping dead of a fucking asthma attack on stage.
Well,
I'm not speaking of anybody in particular.
This is why no one likes you. All right, so you hush up. All right, you be quiet. I have to ask this before we go.
Okay.
Just a little something. So I would have to say one of the songs years ago that really grabbed me, Charlotte.
Okay.
Why? Because the bridge to the outro, it just represents something like that was the 90s. Like it was fucking heavy. And then that melodic bridge to the outro, it's one of my favorite songs. I listened to about 5 times today just because I knew we were jumping on a call and I just wanted to get in the groove. And writing that album back then, I mean, we don't have to go on a whole tangent, but just writing that album back then, did you know how influential and big it was going to be?
Of course not.
No.
That's shit's, we were little kids and we were, playing in my mom and dad's basement and playing regional shows, like in London, in Toronto, in Hamilton, Windsor, like it within like 400 kilometer radiuses. And then we just happened to, get seen at the right place at the right time. So it was pure luck by the right person. And it was weird, man. Like I didn't think that was, you always hope for that kind of stuff, especially when you're that young. Like, it's just like, you hope that, and like, I just feel so lucky. And I feel like I can't, like, it still blows my mind every time. Like I get a message on Instagram, like, hey, I just want you to know that you changed my life. And I'm like,
That's awesome. That's awesome, though. I tell you what, if you're having a bad day at work or at home or whatever, and you get that message, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? Like, it's just actually funny story. I was having a conversation with one of we have. So I don't know if you ever like came to a lot of shows. Like KITTIE shows back in the day, but we have like crews of people that would come out to shows. Okay. And like not in the New York crew sense, but we had like people that would come out to like a block of shows in their region. Mm-hmm. So like we'd have like a New York City show, we'd have a New Jersey show, we'd play like Albany and Pittsburgh or wherever the fuck is close to not Pittsburgh. What's the other one? Philadelphia. So in the general area. So like, and then those people would come out to those shows, like each show. So they do like 10 shows, and then we'd move on to the next region, which would be like Michigan, Ohio area, and then those people from Michigan, Ohio would come out to like 5 or 10 shows. So actually, before I started this interview, I was talking to one of my Southern homies that come out to, he used to come out to a bunch of shows, and because we were all the same age, so we ended up making a lot of friends, which is kind of crazy. That's cool. And they just so happened to like our music, which is, so like I keep in touch with all of those people.
That's very good.
If you were like a KITTIE show regular and like I fucking knew you, I still talk to you. There's like nobody that I don't talk to. Yeah. And it's interesting because like it's interesting because we had such a crazy fan base that they would like, and they were all on our message board. So they would like, all meet up with each other and stuff like that. Our message board was out of control too back in the day. But yeah, so like for instance, like I was talking to a guy from South Carolina today, and Derek, he's a super good kid, and like I just keep in touch with all of those kids.
So is there anything on the horizon for KITTIE? And is there anything that you could share with us? An exclusive? Come on, let's go.
So it's 6:30 right now at home. I'm going over to my sister's house right now, so I'll tell you. Okay.
Oh.
There we go.
All right.
It wouldn't, if there were music stuff happening, it'd be happening here, and it wouldn't be late because my neighbors already fucking hate me. So legit, I moved here 3 years ago, and nobody fucking talks to me because I have a drum kit.
You know that girl with the cats?
That rock and roll lady.
We don't like her. We don't. The girl with the cats.
Surrounded by a bunch of people that work for the London bus drivers.
The girl with the tats and the cats. Don't talk to her.
Listen, when it's like 110 degrees outside and I'm mowing my lawn and like in a short sleeve shirt, like I'm pretty sure all of the fucking old people on my street have a collar. I almost feel bad for them because like they don't know what that shit is. They're probably scared shitless, and I apologize, people of my street. My last neighborhood was a little more rough, so everybody was super cool. This neighborhood, not so fucking cool.
Well, we just we would just like to say thank you so much for your time. Like you're such a sweetheart, and we love your music. And
thank you.
We again, at least for a little story from our lives, we got to open up for you, and that was really big for us back in the day. So, thank you so much for taking the time out and chilling with us, and hopefully maybe down the road another
God
EP.
willing, 2021. You guys come anywhere near New York.
Yeah,
you know, the White Swan did do a U.S. run 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that's where I ended up playing drums because our drummer that we hired to play for us in the U.S. Didn't work out.
He didn't make it. He didn't make that gig.
Yeah, but like we did like 5 shows or whatever, and the people that did come out, like they got to see me play drums. So I'm sure they were super stoked about that.
By the way, I never touched upon this. This is one thing I want to talk about. But you're fucking heavy hitter. You're a heavy hitter. Like you play drums. It's not. There's no fucking rinky dink about it. Like when you get behind the kit, you're playing drums.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine recently. He was like, I just rewatched your Drumeo thing, and he was like, dude, what the fuck? You hit so hard. And I'm like, you gotta beat them like they owe you money.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. All I know is that you're so sweet on the outside. I tell you what, you pick up those 2 sticks, whatever probably internal aggression you have, you let it out.
I don't have much aggression, but what I do have is no feeling in my knuckles.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, the great Mercedes Lander, thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. You guys have yourself an excellent evening.
Yes.
Same to you. Stay well.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
What a sweetheart. That felt good for Rocco and myself to actually tell Mercedes that back in the day we got to open up for her and KITTIE at the Birch Hill Nightclub the last weekend it was open. It was a fucking blast. It was really cool to let her know that. Check her band out, the White Swan, their new EP, Nocturnal Transmission. Please visit them, show some love, thewhiteswanband.com. And you can also hit up Mercedes on Twitter at love_in_stereo. So, with all that being said, Rocco, my friend, please tell the people what they need to hear.
If you just heard us chat with our girl Mercedes and you want to go out and pick up some ladies and you're cruising down the Ave in your IROC from the 80s, then you're listening to Not These Two Fucking Guys podcast.
We out.